Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Asmi Jain, and it's truly an honor to serve as today's program coordinator. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the very first day of our FDP on Advanced Tools and Techniques for Research Methodology. This FDP has been thoughtfully organized by the Research Foundation of India in collaboration with Shodh Malwa, Parul University, Gujarat, Eklavya University, JHRF, ARGA, and Edu Academic Inc. Before we begin this event, I'm honored to introduce the Research Foundation of India and shed light on its mission and operations. RFI is dedicated to social upliftment, enhancing higher education quality, and promoting Indian research globally. It organizes international and national conferences, seminars, workshops, and symposiums to integrate intellectual ideas and foster innovation. Committed to scholarly inquiry and the practical application of research, RFI collaborates with top Indian universities through MOUs. Its members include distinguished faculty, researchers, and professionals across various disciplines. With more than 100 chapters in India and about 50 chapters in other Asian countries, RFI has hosted over 1,000 international conferences worldwide, contributing significantly to academic excellence and research development. Notably, it operates independently without any government financial sponsorship. Now, without any further delay, we are really honored to welcome Dr. Ankita Jain, a distinguished academic and dynamic leader in human resources and general management. A PhD in HR with multiple postgraduate degrees, she brings 7 plus years of teaching excellence from institutions like Sri Vaishnav and PIMR Indore. An alumna of IIM Indore's FDP, Ma'am has authored 30 plus publications, presented 45 plus papers, and holds a patent addressing unemployment. She currently serves as the convener International Affairs at the Research Foundation of India and is an active speaker, life coach, and editorial board member with contributions to platforms like CARE International Journal. With this, I humbly invite Ma'am to take over the session. Over to you, Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Asmi, and thank you so much, Team Research Foundation of India, for inviting me in this particular FDP. As you already know, that this particular FDP program is for 10 days, and we are going to talk about advanced tools and technology, especially tools and techniques for the research methodology. So, if we talk about this particular topic, it, it means number of things. It only does not talk about research methodology, but it decides upon the whole pattern of your research work, of your whole chapter or your whole thesis or whole research paper, what exactly you are going to do and how you are going to do. So this particular FDP is going to cover almost each and everything which is required in a particular in a particular FDP program for a purpose of getting more and more uh, advantages, or I can say importance about doing any particular literature or any particular area of concern related to research. So we are going to discuss each and everything which is very much important to know about any particular research work when we go for any research paper writing or thesis. So if we talk about the day one, today we are going to talk about problem identification and formulation. There are two topics which we are going to cover today. Excuse me. Number two, then we are going to talk about art of writing a review of literature. So that's today's topic. Apart from this, we are also going to cover number of topics in this FDP like research design and sampling, questionnaire designing and development, application of Excel for the analysis, and application of SPSS for data analysis. Hypothesis development and testing, understanding ethical issues, then compiling the references, then conclusion, summary, and ultimately in the last day, we are going to cover research paper writing or the report writing and understanding the impact factor and the publication phases. So this is all we are going to cover in this particular FDP. So on the day one, We are going to talk about research problem and also art of writing review of literature. So let me share my slides with you all. I hope I am audible and my slides are visible to everyone. Can
Yes,
anyone please
ma'am.
confirm?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
It's
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start with
Ma'am,
the first thing. That is research problem.
will you be sharing the slides?
See, this particular FDP is live on the YouTube as well as other social media accounts. You can directly take it
Okay.
from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I am talking about the research problem. So basically, what is it? The word suggests itself that the research problem related to research, or you have something in your mind which is troubling you or giving you any question in your mind. So this is research problem which you are having or you want to solve basically. So it can be any specific issue or any particular investigation or you want to find out a solution for. So a research problem is a definite, clear expression about an area of concern, condition needs to be improved upon, then a difficulty to be eliminated, or a troubling question that exists in a scholarly literature, especially in the theory within the existing practice. So, whenever you are doing any work, you have something in your mind which for which you are doing that research, you want to know about it. So, it can be any statement, any particular concern area where you are thinking about to explore, any particular condition which is you are thinking needs an improvement, any particular difficulty key areas which you need to focus and to eliminate, also any particular question that is in your mind and you want to resolve it. Identifying a research problem, it involves choosing an area of genuine interest, reviewing the literature, especially existing literature I'm talking about, so that we can find out the gaps, we can stay attuned to the real world issues and discuss the ideas with the peers. So whenever you are identifying any research problem, you should also discuss with your colleagues or your friends, whoever are interested already doing the research, so they will refine your ideas. Consider the theoretical frameworks, explore emerging trends and evaluate the feasibility of your research. This really will help you to get the right idea, what should we follow, what kind of trends are going on, and also we can also understand the feasibility of the research. So whenever it comes to research, there are some things which are required to understand. One is feasibility, another one is researchability, another one is validity. Will it work in the future? Is this feasible now? Are we researching on such kind of topic which really needs a research, like is this the literature is available or not, is this topic researchable or not? So we need to understand this. So a research problem can be a question that needs to be answered. It can be a concept the researcher wants to understand. It can be a crisis that needs to be resolved. It can be any situation that needs to be changed, or it can be a reason of dissatisfaction. So we have to understand this, that research problem can be anything: question, concept, crisis, situation, any problem, any difficulty, anything. But ultimately, what we have to do, we have to find out the solution, we have to come to the conclusion, we have to find out the results. Okay, so now if we talk about tips for identifying a good research problem or understanding how to identify a research problem. So basically, first, if you want to identify a research problem, you have to go through a literature review. Later on, I'll be discussing more about literature, just telling you about it in short that what is literature, which is all the work which is already published. So we have to identify a research problem and we have to review the literature, which is already published work. It can be from anywhere. Specifying a research purpose, which will help you to understand what exactly you are doing or you are going to do. Then you have to collect the data, accordingly. Then you have to analyze and interpret the data. And finally, you have to evaluate the research so that you can identify the research problem finally. So basically, whenever you are trying to find out any research problems, you should always have some facts and figures. You should have some observations that what exactly should be done. It should not be merely an assumption of yours. It should be researchable, as I have said, and should be available, or it should be feasible to do with the methods and tools. It should have a significance which can contribute something as a new knowledge or any particular solutions. Also, as I'm saying again and again, you have to think about it that whether this particular research is researchable or not. I mean, the work which you are thinking or the idea which you are having in your mind, that is researchable or not. So a research problem is clearly defined issue or a gap in existing knowledge that a study aims to address. It basically serves as a foundation of the research process, guiding the development of research question, objectives, and methodology. So research problem gives us idea or us the base or the foundation for what doing the research process. It gives us guidance toward developing the research questions. When we have a problem, we can develop a question, and after question we can design our objectives. That will also give us a clarity over our hypothesis. Then only we can apply the test. So it gives a base for everything: questions, objectives, methodology, everything. So whenever it is coming to research problem, it should be clearly defined, because ultimately it is the base. If it will not be right, then your whole uh, things will be, uh, in the problem. A research problem is specific issue, difficulty, contradiction, gap in knowledge that a researcher aims to address through a systematic investigation. See, the definitions are almost same everywhere, but it has a little changes in the terminologies. So it forms the foundation of a study. It guides the research questions, research design, and potential outcomes. As I have said earlier, it is guiding the development of research question, objective, and methodology. Here they have written it is providing the base or foundation for the research design and the potential outcome or expected outcomes. So when we talk about a good or how to select a research problem, a good research problem. So first you have to identify, as I have said, researchability. Still, you have to understand a thing beforehand, that the problem is relevant or not, is that important or not, is this having any particular significance in the study. So the importance needs to be justified. Okay, then does the subject area suits to your interest or his interest? You should always do the things or the subject areas you should choose which are of your interest, which are suitable to you, or you are having interest in it. Otherwise, after some time, while you are doing such kind of study, if you lose interest, that will lead to nothing. So you should always check that particular area which suits to your interest. Does it contain originality and creativeness? This is again a very much important point, uh, that sometimes, because of we are taking things from the internet nowadays, it is easy to understand whether that work is done earlier or not. But still, after, without finding in, without searching, without doing any research, without doing any literature review, if you are doing your research, then it will be a problem. So whenever you are checking out any of the topic or finding it out any finding out any particular topic for yourself, you should always check the objectives and the original. You have to check the originality, whether that work is done earlier or not. Also, you have to be creative enough to change the topic and making it interesting. Then does the problem requires extension of knowledge? So of course, we all know various things, we have ideas about various things. Sometimes we are, most of the time we are doing the study in the area where we are teaching, or we are already learned, or we are having interest. So if you are having interest, you are teaching, so you'll be knowing about that particular topic. Okay, So still, let me tell you, you have to understand that the problem requires extension of knowledge. So the answer is always yes, because after doing lots of things, reading lots of things, every day the new literature is coming. Every day new concepts are coming. Even in the previous, the older concepts, the new things are emerging. The technological advancement, adopt the new changes. So you have to adopt the title on the topic as per the current scenario. Okay. So you always need an extension to the knowledge where you can find yourself up to date. Steps to formulate a research problem. So if we talk about it, steps to formulate a research problem, so it has various, it can have various steps. So the first one is identifying the broader topic, where you have to choose a general area of interest which aligns with your academic or professional goals. As I have said, first you have to, for example, you are from whichever field. For example, if you are from management, then not management, but you have to find out at least HR, marketing, operations, whatever you are field you are from, you have to choose a general area of interest. Then you have to check whether are this accomplishing your academic goals or not. Then next one is next one is conduct a preliminary research. Whenever you are choosing something, you have to have a overview. As I have said, the idea should be original and it should also contain the creativity. So how would you know that that particular work is done or not? So you have to done a basic excuse me. You have to understand or conduct a preliminary study so that it can give you reviews about the previous literatures, and also you will understand the current knowledge and you can identify the gap whether that work is done or not, and if not done then what is there. Okay. So now next point is narrow dining topic. Now if you have identified your broader area, you have already reviewed the literature, now you have to go through the narrow downing topic. You have to focus on a specific aspect or area, or the uh, of like basically which is coming from the broader aspect or broader topic. You have to take out a one single point where you can research. So or also you have to understand that particular if it is under research or contentious. So basically you have to understand what is not done, but it should be researchable also. Now next one is define the problem clearly. Once the literature is done, you have decided upon the topic or the title or something, then you have to articulate the issue in a concise statement. You have to identify or highlight the gap in the knowledge or the practice. So whenever you are, talking about any research problem, it should have feasibility, it should have researchability, it should be very clear and specific. So you have to define the problem clearly. It should have some significance so that it can address the important aspects of the area. Also, it should be feasible, as I have said. Okay. Now, once it is defined, you have to formulate the research questions. You have to develop specific, clear, feasible question that will guide your investigation, because ultimately problem will lead to question, question will lead to objectives, and then hypothesis, and then testing, then analysis, and finally the results and conclusion. So this reports to be done in a particular way. And the proper investigation needs to be done. Now assess the feasibility. You have to ensure that the problem can be addressed within your available resources, time, access of data. Again, I am talking about the same thing, that feasibility and researchability. That is very much important to understand, that it is just not like that you just want to do the work, you have done it. You have to check out your accessibility to the data, the time which you are having, the given time to you for the work, also the available resources for the same. So now we talk about the formulation of a research problems. It has steps like first you have to identify the field, or you can say the broader area. Then you have to select the interested sub area. Then you have to narrow down the topic. Then you have to assess the objective accordingly. Then finally, you can formulate the objective that can help you to raise the questions. If we talk about the characteristics of a good research problem, so as I have already mentioned these things, it should have a clarity so that the problem should be stated clearly and unambiguously. Then, researchability, it should be possible to investigate the problem through the empirical methods or not. So, researchability needs to be checked. Significance, you have to address the problem, it should contribute something valuable to the field. Originality, as I said, so the problem should offer a new perspective or address to an unexplored area. Means the idea should be original enough to do. Feasibility. So the scope of the problem should be manageable within the constraints of the study, as I have already told you about the time, resources, availability of the sources, everything. Now, if we talk about, sometimes people have confusion about the research problem and research question. So let's see how it is different. Topic, if we talk about the mental health in college students, so this can be a topic, and the research problem would be, despite increased awareness, the prevalence of anxiety. These are just an example, huh? The prevalence of the anxiety and depression among college students remain high and indicating a gap in effective coping strategy. So they are talking about the increased awareness. Still, the people are having anxiety and depression. So the research question would be, what is the effect of daily mindfulness sessions or meditations on reducing the anxiety levels among the college students? If we are doing something, so is that affecting it or not, having an impact or not? So a research problem is basically a clear expression which gives about the idea or the situation where a researcher understands or sees a gap between the what is and what should be done, what is done and what should be done, and what we know and what we need to know, and also what we want to investigate. So this is all about the research problem. Now, further, we'll talk about, the research review of literature. Again, this is very important aspect of the study. I think if I'll say this, it will not be enough for justifying this particular topic, because ultimately everything is starting with this and ending on this. Ultimately, the review of literature is not only giving the base to your study, it is giving the base to your research problem identification, making good objectives, setting good objectives, coming to the final objectives, finding the right research methodology, and choosing the right sample size, research design, and also choosing the right test for the study, doing a proper analysis, and come out to the conclusion. So, this review of literature is going to help you from the beginning till the submission. What is a literature review? So basically, it's a systematic examination of existing researches. It can be books, can be journals, articles, report, or theses. So basically, on a specific topic, basically it doesn't only summarize, it also evaluates and analyze the prior work to the situation of your own research. Whatever you are doing, it gives us idea on that how it has been done earlier. So let's talk about it. Format of thesis or research paper. Why I'm telling you this? So that you can understand where are we standing. We are on the second point of the study, that is review of literature. In general, whenever you see any paper, it starts with the abstract. So I have written abstract as well. But the actual paper or uh, the the, uh, the research is starting with the first chapter, that is introduction. The next chapter we are talking about today is review of literature, research gap, research methodology. After that, results and interpretation, findings and discussion, conclusion, and the references. So we are on the second point, introduction. So the review of literature is a summary of all the reviews from various research literature related to the current study carried out by the researcher. Simply, whatever is available, you have to just review those papers or the studies which are available on the basically in the libraries. But nowadays, we have e-library, we have e-books, we have our own internet, we have everything. So it's easy to find out the available reviews or literatures in the previous with the previous studies. Now, it helps to discover what is already known about a research problem. Just a second. Yeah. So it basically helps to discover what is already known about the research problem and what more has to be done. As we have discussed in the research problem, research problem gives us idea about understanding what is already known and what more has to be done, what more needs to be known. Then the material gathered in the literature review should be included as a part of a research data since it influences the problem and research design. It can be used to compare the results and the findings for the current study. So basically, we are collecting lots of data and the material through the literature review, and it can be included as a part of research data because ultimately it is going to give you the base. And as I have already said, ultimately in the research problem, we have also discussed that we have to uh, whenever we are defining any research problem, we have to study the literature review. The reason behind is it is influencing or affecting somewhere the part of the research problem. So basically, it evaluates and critically analyze the prior work to situate your own research, and basically it shows how your research fits into or it extends or challenges of the existing body of knowledge. So a literature review is an assessment of a body of research that addresses our research questions. An organized written presentation of what has been published on a topic by the scholars. So that is literature review. So resources of literature review can be magazines, newspaper, electronic database, books, journals, conference papers, thesis, encyclopedia, and dictionary. Also, the research reports or any kind of published work which is there. So basically, it helps all these sources are providing the content and helping to clarify the research work. Now we talk about the characteristics of a good literature review. So a good review of literature must be comprehensive, detailed enough. It should include up-to-date references. It should have proper citations from wherever you have taken the data. You should cite that. It should be systematic in a proper way. It should be free from the biases. And it should be well written. Like you should never impose your ideology on anything. Whatever you are getting, it should be written biased, unbiased, like bias free, and you should provide the proper resources, whether it is published or not. So you can include national, international sources. You have to also, whenever you are doing it, should be in the form of some of its parts. Means it should have the themes. It should be having some different. You can organize your literature basically thematically, or the chronologically, or the methodologically. So basically, ultimately you have to understand that what kind of study we are doing, how much we have to write, and from where we can get the right type of data for the analysis. It should be clearly searched and selected. As I have said, this particular part is not going to help you in the chapter 2. It is starting from the first page till the last page of the study. It is helping you, or it is giving or contributing in the uh, research. So it should have a proper search, unbiased search, and you have to select it in a particular way that it can be uh, like anybody who is reading your literature can have the idea that what exactly you have done in the particular area, what kind of work you have selected. So you have to summarize, synthesize, and criticize the literature properly before you are finalizing it. Then next one is accurate references should be given in the review. That is very much important, as I have said. If you have taken somebody's work, you have copied anybody's work, you are taking the ideas of someone, you have to mention them. You have to cite them. You have to give them credits. And that is why nowadays the AI and flag check is getting more important and viral. The reason behind is understanding the idea on how this literature is contributing, that is okay, but if you're copying somebody's idea, that is not right. So you have to search the relevant literature with proper keywords, proper topics, proper synonyms can be used. You can use different types of databases like journals, conference proceedings, thesis, reports, and it can, again, as I have said, international, national, doesn't matter, but it should be very properly searched. Now, purpose of the literature review. Why we do this? As I have already told the importance of literature, lots of points I have discussed. So you must have understood that, yeah, it is making difference. And uh, why it is important to do, because ultimately it is giving the base for the whole work. So it helps to identify what is already known about a research problem. Then it helps to build on previous knowledge. Many published research studies contain recommendations for future research from which we can get idea for a new research study. I would like to focus on this particular topic point. Okay, let me see. Again, I'm coming on this particular slide. I hope it is visible. So as I have said, that it is going to give you a particular idea on the, okay. Now let's talk about it. Specifically, if we talk about the conclusion, so conclusion does not only have the conclusion as the declaration of the work, it has four more parts as per my opinion. One is suggestions or recommendations. Number two, limitations. It can be written in the last. Another one is implications of the study. And the last one, which I was talking about in that point, that is scope for the future research. I hope you all can see this. So now, as I have said, there are not only these points here. See again, Read this line. Many published research studies contain recommendation for future research from which we can get the idea of the new research study. So let me tell you, every research is having the conclusion, but all the researchers should have the scope for the future research. What exactly it is, let me tell you. I have shown already what exactly and where it is. It is there, like it is having the part in the study. So now, so for example, if you are doing any work, obviously it is not possible for you to do everything in your research work. It can have one thing or two things which you have been explored and you understood that what exactly should be done. But everything cannot be done in this particular in any single paper. Even in the theses, you cannot cover all the aspects which needs to be researched or should be focused on. So in that case, when you are not able to complete, so what you can do, you can give some suggestions, you can give some idea for the future work. So we can call it a scope for the future research scope, or recommendation for the future research. Anything can be said when it comes to when it comes to research, and when it comes to any particular search on the studies. So future research scope will be should be the last thing which is there in the research paper and ultimately going to help you. Then it makes researcher to know that research has already been done in a particular area so that the duplication can be avoided. So basically, like I hope you understand the importance of the future research scope. So whenever somebody is reading your paper, they can also directly, obviously in the abstract we can see what exactly has been done in the whole paper. In the future research scope you can see what has been done, okay, but what is still left, what could be else somebody else can take ahead. Even you can also take that idea, like obviously you can also carry forward your research by marking that the future in the future research scope we have seen that this was not, that this could not be done, so we are taking, or we can take another objective for another research paper for a particular a study. Then you have to understand that we have to study the literature, the reason behind, so that we can avoid the duplication. We assure that the study is not already done and not giving you any particular duplication or any unoriginal ideas. Basically, one original idea should be there. It is necessary to narrow down the problem to be studied. As I have said, you cannot study everything. So you have to narrow down the problem. So it will be helped by the literature review. Already explained. Then how to write a review of literature. So if we talk about the how to write, so first you have to search the you know relevant literature, proper synonyms, ideas, and then you have to select your sources. You have to identify the themes, debates, gaps, and you have to then summarize, synthesize, and finally you have to your structure your review clearly. In that case, there are different ways of writing review of literature. I can say how to write means you can say different ideas of how to write it in a proper way. In general, there are two. Otherwise, there are so many types from which you can write the literature. Yeah. Just give me a second. My laptop is getting discharged. Let me put it on the charge. Okay. So as I was saying that there can be various ways. If you search on the internet will give you lots of ideas. You can write it in this way or that. But the basic ideas or the most prevalent ideas are there are two. One is chronological, another one is thematic or thematically. Basically, in this, what happens? You have to choose either like you can choose any one of these, or basically you can follow both the things together. In that case, what happens, let me tell you. If we talk about the chronological, what does it mean? Time with the time. So when it comes to chronological, you have to choose your literature according to the time, and you have to proper do it in a way that you can use it ascending order or in the descending order. I mean, you can use the recent studies first, then you can go back to the previous ones, or you can start with the previous ones and you can come back to the recent ones. But generally, you should start with the recent when it comes to writing. Now we talk about the thematic. So thematic means on the based on different themes. So as many as variables you are having connections with the variables, or you want to check any kind of impact of something on something. So all the aspects, all the keywords should be clearly searched and written. All the keywords included in the literature, or sorry, topic or title should be included as a different theme. Then you can also do one thing, that in every theme you can use chronological order. Okay, that is also possible. And the last one, there is one more I have added, that is methodological example. That where you are focusing on the different types of like you are doing the qualitative study or quantitative surveys. In that also, if you are doing qualitative, in that you can focus on different methods and accordingly you can write. Now, structure of a literature review. Number one, introduction, methods, body, discussion and conclusion, and the reference list. So whenever you are writing a review of literature, you have to write the introduction, what is the topic is all about, what methods they have followed, what exactly has been done after doing that experimentation or analysis. Then you have to discuss the idea and you have to conclude what exactly they have done. And in the last, you have to also give the reference. You have to cite the person's name, author's name. So each and every literature should have all these points, then only a literature would be completed. So evaluate, synthesize, and then analyze the situation or your literature study properly. So whenever you are reading a PDF, any paper, you have to write in this particular way. So in the introduction, you can say you have to set some context, you have to provide proper information. Then in the methods, you have to help the reader to understand your approach. You have to describe the criteria, and you have to use criteria which is used to select the sources or the way in which you have presented the information. If we talk about the body, so a chronological model has different paragraphs for a different time periods. So a particular thematic model, it can have a different themes as well. In the discussion or conclusion, you have to summarize the contribution. And in the last, you have to prepare a complete reference list that includes every important details of all the sources you have referred to. So you have to make sure that how your research fits into or extends or challenges the existing body of knowledge. So when it comes to steps of review of writing review of literature, so you have to select a subtopic, or you have to select a topic. Then you have to search the literatures. So whenever you are searching a relevant literature, so you have to make sure that all the keywords, topics, synonyms are there. You have to identify all the things. Then you have to include all type of resources for the same. Then you have to develop the argument, and you have to survey the literature. So you have to check the credibility, relevance, and the methodology and the findings, and you have to develop the argument accordingly. And whenever you are surveying the literature, you have to focus on most relevant and high quality studies. Then you have to identify proper themes, proper gaps, and then you have to organize that literature thematically or chronologically. You have to critique, and then you have to write the literature properly. Now, A well-conducted literature review, basically, it aims at demonstrating the familiarity with the existing body of knowledge. It identifies the gaps or inconsistencies in the literature. It helps to establish a theoretical framework for your research, positioning your study within the context of existing research. And finally, you have to justify the significance of the research question or the hypothesis. So, you have to summarize, synthesize, and the criticize. So you have to basically start with the introduction, then you have to keep it in the main body, you have to organize it, and with the summary, and ensure the citations are correct and comprehensive. And proper, well conducted literature review should have all these things. Now, if we talk about the length of the literature review, before that, I would like to say there are some mistakes which we always do whenever we are going writing or putting the literature in the files. So only studies without analyzing or compare should not be there. Sometimes we study lots of studies, but we do not know how to find out the gap, or we fail to find out the gaps. Then also you just ignore the methodological issues or weakness or the limitations of the prior studies. Because of that, you also feel the same kind of problems or limitations in your study too. Also, this is very important with the technological advancement or with the new generation, or with the new time, new era, you can say, everything has been changed. Okay. And because of that, sometimes you just uh, you cannot go so back in time, because ultimately you will get the outdated content, or which is not relevant in the current scenario, and ultimately which will give you or lead to irrelevant literature. So you should always avoid that, right? Then lack of logical organization. So the review feels like that you should always have a proper, arrangement of this. So now let's talk about the length of the literature review. So as a part of the PhD or the MSc dissertation, literature review will be comprehensive and covering all the research on the topic. So when it comes to different types, we can have different things like 20 to 40% of the total work length, or we can say it may count up to 15 to 30% of the entire document. Now, if we talk about the types of the research work, it can be various types of research where we are using the literature review in different projects. So it can be a 3 to 5 pages, 1,000 to 2,000 words, or you can say 10 to 15%. Like this UG project or PG project, you can say 5 to 10 pages or 10 to 20%. So ultimately, in all type of projects, you can say that it is having different word counts. You can say different page lengths. So when it comes to thesis, yeah, it is having 25 to 35% of the pages, and ultimately it is going to give you an idea about the comprehensive critical review of the study. Also, if it comes to any standalone review paper, which is a systematic review literature paper, so 20 to 40% or 20 to 40 pages, around 100% almost of the research work will be review of literature. So if we talk about the sources for a review of literature, so there can be primary sources, secondary sources, and tertiary sources. So original works presenting different new data, where it can be peer-reviewed journals, theses, conference, and journal government report. When we talk about the secondary sources, can be scholarly books, review articles, textbooks. In the tertiary sources, you can talk about encyclopedias, bibliographies, handbooks, and there can be so many other compilations which are going to help you to get the right type of review of literature and the sources. So if we talk about the some points to remember, so you should always make sure that the literature review must be written in a formal and academic style. Means you should not write in the proper just a normal language which is not understandable, or a basic language which is just a general language in the regular speaking terms. So basically, you should have a academic writing. It should feel like that you are writing in academic style. Also, you have to keep the writing clear and concise. Also, you have to always understand that whoever has written the previous studies and you are doing the literature review, you should always respect to others ideas. Basically, it should not be like that if you are providing any harm or any criticizing somebody's opinions. They have also gone through some particular researches and analysis, then they have come out to the opinions. So you should always respectful to others opinion. When introducing someone's opinion, you have to use such words like argues, claims, state, instead of says the just normal words. So you should always use the academic style of writing the review of literature. So your literature review should present your synthesis of previous research and uh, lay down the foundation for understanding your research and appreciating its value. So in that case, I can say the literature reviews should not be only just just presenting the or collecting the data and just putting it in the file. It should always give some contribution to your study, where you can talk about that. Is it meaningful to you? Is it helpful to you? So if basically you can say it should be an evaluation of existing work which is already been done by various scholars. And you can also, like as I have said, it can be there can be so many sources, books, journals, articles, thesis, whatever you want you can use. So basically it introduces the reader to what is already known about the topic. It identifies the theories, models, method which is used in the prior work. Also it gives the gaps or shows the gaps and the weaknesses, and also gives the contradictions. If there are, sometimes we have a discussion part. If we talk about the part after results and analysis, there is one more, that is finding and discussion. So literature review gives one more part, like let me come to this. I have shown you this in the first earlier, like literature review. Here also the ROL verbs, I can say. Note not only this particular part, but the literature review is here in the second chapter. But when it comes to discussion, it also gives idea about the ROF. Because in every what does it mean? What the discussion means. Discussion and research basically gives you idea that what has been already done in a study, previous studies, and is it relevant to you. It can be in the favor of your study, it can be in the contradiction to your study. So the purpose of discussion section is just to interpret and describe the significance of your findings, basically in relation to what is already known about the research problem. So results which may tell you what is what did I find, what did you find in your study, and the discussion will be telling you what do these findings mean, how these matters. So basically you have to often move towards the implication, limitations, and future research. So this particular discussion will give you the guidance towards getting the right type of uh, uh, understanding about your particular topic. Now if we talk about the another part which I have already said about the like if we talk about the discussion, so you have to understand the key findings, you have to write the interpretation of the results, then limitations, suggestions, and the conclusion too. So as I have said, so literature review, obviously we have to read before starting the work. Once the method and results are done, analysis is done, we have to write the discussion, which is again a kind of ROL, where we are comparing the previous study with our current results. And in the conclusion, again, the scope for the future research, which leads to a proper identification of the right type of problem and choosing the right type of literature. So let me come back. Now, if we talk about avoiding the avoiding the plagiarism in the literature review. So what is plagiarism? You already know. Nowadays, even it's not only plagiarism, it is AI as well. So, you have to be very cautious whenever you are trying to copy somebody's data. Don't copy the data. You can convert those that particular somebody's statement, somebody's research in your own words. So if we talk about at all the times, you have to avoid plagiarizing your sources, and you have to always separate your source opinion from your hypothesis. So you have to make sure that the consistently the reference your literature whichever you are referring to. So exactly what you understand as a plagiarism is. So it's not just copying the text word for word. It is, it can be other things. When it comes to literature review, sometimes you just paraphrase another's ideas without proper citations. We have to cite them properly. Sometimes you just copy the large part of the study and without acknowledging the original source. You have to always give the originality in your sources. You have to use the proper data, proper ideas from others. Obviously, see, ultimately we are taking somebody's ideas, so it cannot be something different, but it has to be something which is given by someone, but your own original contribution should be there. Sometimes you are just fail to distinguish between your thoughts and whatever data you have got from others literature. So you have to make sure that you are properly, thoughtfully, you are analyzing the material and your sources. So when it comes to, there is one more thing I would like to say, that whenever you are talking about organizing or avoiding the plagiarism and organizing your literature, so what will you do? You have to properly organize and you have to make the clear notes for the same. You have to write proper citations you have to give. You have to paraphrase the words. You have to paraphrase properly. Just don't just swap the words from here to there. Just don't do this. You have to para properly paraphrase. Still you have to cite the original source. Don't think that you have paraphrased it is in your own word. You are just reading somebody's ideas and you are putting it in your word. Now you have to use direct quotes carefully. And uh, sometimes you are just people thinking that just quote the paragraph and you will get rid of plagiarism. It's not like that. Then you have to cite all the resources properly. This is again I'm focusing. So obviously there is one session on the reference management itself. So how to do it, how to properly cite the authors, you have to make sure that. Now, so if we talk about concluding the literature review, so it comes to, you have to summarize the ideas, proper all the conflicts, themes, whatever you have read till now. Already you can use the historical data, chronological data, or periods. You can make a different themes for the same, as I have said. Then relate your thesis with the work reported in the literature. So you have to make sure that whatever the work you are doing, you are citing, you have to report that particular in the literature, and you have to point out the gap, that research gap in the scholarly articles, so that research can help for the further in the further analysis. So before submitting or run your work through the tools, you can, properly, you have to understand that just not copy and use the data. You have to understand it. You have to write in a proper way. You have to summarize the main findings, and you have whatever the themes you have discussed in the body of the review. It should also have the transition to the next chapter by providing the reason why this work is being done and why it has been done, why has been done and how it has been done. So it should properly evaluate the current state of the literature. You have to highlight the strength, weakness, methodological issues, gaps, and inconsistencies while we are doing any kind of review of literature. Also, you have to clearly brief the ideas which has been done. It should show how your research fits It should provide insights into a broader context and how the literature review connects to larger discipline, practice, or the theory. So, simply, whenever you are structuring your particular literature, you have to use some things like brief summary of a theme, evaluation of the literature has to be done, then implication of your research, and finally the significance of the research. So the research library of literature should be properly organized, written in a particular way, and be done easily. So that is it from my side. Thank you so much, everyone. Now I am open for the question answer session. As this is a theory kind of subject or the topic, so I have told you number of things as much as of my knowledge. Also, I have tried including my words and my ideas apart from the obviously internet sources. I have included whatever could do in the slides, because most of the time the scholars ask for the they ask for the slides, and so whatever is there I have already mentioned in the slides, and you can take you could have taken the notes from us. Also, this particular session is streaming like on the social media, so you can, if you are forgetting something or you are missed something, so you can also easily take notes on the same. So, anyone, please, if somebody wants to say something or want to ask something, so I'm open for the question answer session.
Are there any questions, anyone? Any doubts?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Ma'am, should the literature review be taken for UG, PG, and at doctoral level at the same way, or is there any difference, or can we discriminate between UG, PG, and doctoral?
Ma'am, what I think that it should be, see, ultimately the sources are same. It depends on the topic, whether the UG student or PG student doesn't matter. Literature is literature. It's
Okay.
just I have talked about the length of the literature. So it's like as per the requirement of different programs or different, as per the different requirements. Basically, you should segregate the size of the length of literatures, and generally the students should take the current literature so that they can understand the current scenario of the studies which are happening in that particular area.
Okay.
So the sources will be different, ma'am. I think there will be no difference in the sources. You cannot
Okay.
differentiate in that. Yeah,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam, I have a question whether the final output of literature review is the research gap. So if it is research
Yes,
gap, so
yes,
after writing the literature review, should we write the research gap in a concise way at the end of the literature review?
yes, sir, of course. In
Mm.
every, after every literature, you should always mention one research gap. It can be one or two or three paragraph long, not more than that. Basically, ultimately, see, I can say that whenever we have something in our mind, that is a research problem, as I have told you. It
Mm.
can be a question, whatever I have already mentioned, right? So
Mm.
there is a research problem, then it is leading to research question, and then we are doing the lots of literature review so that we can have a clarity over it. Ultimately the literature review is going to tell us what is already known and what is not. So in that case, what will happen, we will get the idea that what is there and what is not there, so we'll find out the gap,
Mm.
and that gap is also going to give us the ideas about the final research questions and research problem, and that will lead to making the taking the final objectives. So
Mm.
research gap is very much important.
So whether research gap, it is my feeling is that after doing the literature review, suppose I have reviewed 20 research papers and I have found something, and then at the end of writing 20 literature review, then if I at the end I summarize what is covered, what is not covered, and what is I'm going to cover in my research. So in a summarized version at the end, should I give the research gap, or for every literature I review I have to keep on writing the gap for every
No, no,
literature
no.
I review?
After every review, how can you do that? See,
Uh,
simple. But
uh,
the way is, um, before, after each and every gap, you cannot find.
mm,
when you will search, so what is not there, then only you will be able to find. For example, you are going to shop something, or you are going to for a departmental store or something, and you are going for a product. You, if you know it, then okay. Otherwise, you can have an idea that you want to buy this kind of thing, and then you are searching different different departments of the particular departmental store. And if you are not going to find it, then only you can say that this was not there. But if you are going to search only one two areas, or smaller areas, or after searching one section, how can you say this is not there? But
Yes.
after every section you will say this is not there, this is not there. Instead of that, after searching everywhere, you have to say this was the thing which I did not find. I
Right.
can,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
first you have to go through all the type of literature as much as you can.
Yeah. So, is there any guideline as to how many research papers we should review for a PhD thesis?
Sir, I have already mentioned, if you have seen the slide. Actually, that is why I have made my slides like this, that everybody can get an idea. Just a minute,
Hmm.
I'm sharing it again. See, in general, as I have said, it is all about your thesis, your research paper, your work. So nobody else can take up like you should do this and you should do that. You should do this much.
Hmm.
Okay. But still, it's all up to you. You can decide. So if you want to study 10 papers, your choice. If you want to study 20 papers, your choice. It is all your study. There is no fixed. I have said approximate. There is no fixed idea about it. Okay. But
Hmm.
still, tentatively, it, this much should be done. For example, as you have asked me about the PhD thesis, I have said 30 to 50 pages, or you can say that to approximate of 25 to 35% of the total work.
Hmm.
Okay, that's this can be done,
Correct.
will be enough for a PhD thesis. So I have given the guidelines for all the things which as much as I could do. So as from the different internet sources, obviously this table has been prepared, and I just could come out with this because sometimes the scholars are asking about this kind of question multiple times. So this was, I thought, to present it in this way so that you can get the idea. So
Yeah.
I hope you got the idea answer.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
okay,
Uh,
thank you.
Hello, ma'am. I have a doubt.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, can I ask it like
Yeah,
right now?
please, please.
Yeah, sure. So actually, see, we frame the research problem and then we go about searching about the problem and find the literature gaps that's
Hmm.
existing. So after we find the gaps, do like obviously we need to reframe our statement, problem statement, because there can be certain things about the problem that's already been researched upon. So, like, is it that way or how do we go about it?
Yeah, so you are asking first we should do the literature review, first we should define the research problem, or first we should do the research
Yeah,
gap or
right.
something, right?
Yeah, actually, the thing is that, see, when we go for literature review on like a problem is there in our mind or it's happening around us, and then we go for a literature review, there might be certain gaps uh, in the literature, but the like there will be some aspect of the problem already being researched on, so that's no more a gap. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it is possible, ma'am. That's what I have said. And even
okay.
this is the doubt which you are having is very clear. So sometimes it happens. See, for example, sometimes you go to some places, you have some mindset, but when you visit that place, you do you do something, or you experience that place or the area, or you meet someone.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes your ideology changes, your mindset changes about that, because your experience can be different from others. So
Right.
about, yeah, so sometimes it like what you said is right, sometimes it is possible. Then that if we are doing literature review, so I have already given you number of processes about the formulating, identifying the research problem. So every time the literature review is always there, right?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because ultimately, if you are not reading, you will not know.
Right.
That is why a literature review at every step of this research is important. At every point of time, every point of the research, it is important. Ultimately, it is a kind of thing which is refining your work. It might be possible that you will be thinking in such a direction, but research
Mm.
review of literature will give you some another direction or may refine your work. Maybe you may be thinking that I should go this way, that will give you another way, or how in a better way you can go or choose the right that way you were choosing already.
So one
It
more
can
thing. Yeah. So one more thing, actually. So does it happen at times that even the topic gets changed, or we are going in the same topic, same direction, but with different aspects to study?
Uh, yeah. So first of all, the answer for your first question was that you can say you are having problem in your mind, then you are leading to question, then you are making you are reading the literature and you can find out the gaps, and again you can go to the problems and question and gap, right? So
Right.
first, you can say that you should search lots of literature, but a basic idea, basic problem should be there in the mind, okay? But still, first we have to
Okay.
find the gaps, then the research problem, then the research questions, then the objectives that will lead to hypothesis and other methodology part. Clear?
Okay. Yeah. Clear.
Okay.
Clear.
Now,
Right.
the next question which you have, can you please repeat it again?
Yes,
My next question was that only that so as we go in this process, might be there will be changes in entire
Topic.
topic,
Yes.
or we have to include certain other aspects.
Ma'am, generally, I see that all the guides ask their research. Generally, you when you go for
Mm-hmm.
coursework, there is a
Right.
subject, the review of literature you have to go through. The reason behind, so that whatever the topic you have selected while you were searching for the synopsis or DRC, the
Mm-hmm.
first interview, you must be having a a very broken idea about something that you want to go for this. They
Right.
that may not be a a final or the perfect idea for your study. So that is why when you are doing coursework, they teach you some subjects which are required to refine your topic.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is why
Got it.
after coursework only you get your IDC done. Your final topic has to be finalized after that. So that while you are doing a literature review, you are studying the literature review subject, you are taught with that particular ideas of those related to that particular subject. And they
Okay.
also give you some assignment about your topic related to literature review.
Right.
Why that? So that you can also understand what exactly you have done earlier, right?
Okay.
And was that proper topic or not, so you get the time till RDC. Obviously after
Okay.
RDC they will give the time, so that may keep changing. So that is why the RDC is the final thing where you have to finalize your topic. But till
Okay.
then you get 6 months of your coursework, then your examination, everything. Almost a year happens when you decide upon a basic topic and you come to your final topic, right? So I think that
Right.
is the enough time to finalize your final topic. So like you have
Right.
said, sometimes the RDC committee changes your topic. Sometimes you think that this thing which I was thinking is not proper, let me change the topic. So it can
Mm-hmm.
happen. But as per the rules, once the RDC is done, your topic is finalized.
Right. Okay. Got
But
it.
if it talks about the research paper, you can keep on changing. That's not the problem. You can change your topic. If you think that it is not going well, you should change your keywords. You should change the terminologies. You can change the variables. You can do it.
Right. Okay. Sure, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other
Ma'am,
question?
yes, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, is there any difference between meta-analysis and meta-synthesis?
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Yes, ma'am. Is there any difference between meta-analysis and meta-synthesis?
Sir, can you please, you said something, meta-analysis.
And meta-synthesis.
What do you want to know, sir?
Is there any difference between these two approaches? This is with regard to the approaches of the literature review.
You want to know about the meta-analysis and meta-synthesis.
Yes, yes, ma'am. How these are two different, I think, or both are same
Basically,
approach.
one is all about the quantitative studies, one is about the qualitative studies.
Yes, ma'am. Which one is
There are
quantitative and
two
which one is
types.
qualitative?
So basically, there are two types of researches. One is qualitative and quantitative, and we can also
Okay.
have a mixed of this. So when it comes to meta-analysis, it comes to new interpretations and all, and generally it comes to quantitative ones. And when it comes to meta synthesis, so it is all about your generally qualitative studies.
Yes, ma'am. Another question is that, madam, is there any difference between systematic literature review and structural literature review?
Sir, again,
Hello.
your voice is not clear to me. Can you please repeat it again?
Yes, ma'am. Systematic literature review and structured literature review.
Sir, sorry, I cannot hear. Can you please write it down in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am. Systematic literature review and structured literature review.
Systematic literature review and
Structured literature review.
structured literature review. You said that?
Yes, ma'am.
Difference between systematic literature review and structured
Structured
literature,
literature.
literature
Yes.
review. Okay, sir. So basically, see, when it comes to see, it basically these both are the types of doing literature review. So there is as such there are these are two different approaches basically.
Hmm. So how can you?
And
Yes.
sorry.
Please proceed, ma'am.
Yeah. So basically, you can say that when it comes to systematic literature review, it is basically when you are getting, very deep and you are identifying and selecting some different relevant studies. And you are like, for example, we go for a systematic literature review papers. So it is completely very deep studies about a particular area of concern. And when it comes to structured literature review, it is also having a systematic style. Obviously, it has a particular area, but it is not as equals to systematic literature review. So when it comes to systematic one, it is more focused or specific to a research question. And generally structured literature review may be covering all the areas, but not serving to most of the mainly to the literature research question.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
See, in general, you can say when it comes to generally, we are doing the all types of literature review. All are, similar to like all are the structured literature review. But when it comes to systematic literature review, it is also having some, strong emphasis on the your specific research question, your objectives, and particular area where you are doing the papers. Even you can make a standalone paper, as I have mentioned earlier. You can make a standalone paper on the systematic literature review. And when it comes to general research paper writing, thesis writing, or something, so basically we are doing the structured literature review. As I've already given you a format or structure to writing a literature, that it should have an introduction, it should have a research methodology, it should have a body, a conclusion, a discussion, and in the last there should be some referencing. So this is a structured literature review.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes.
Ma'am, I have one question. If anyone has done new innovations, and in that innovations, if we not found any data on that
Yes.
in that innovation from any other sources, so
Hmm.
and if we want to write literature on that innovations, so what should be the
Hmm.
procedure and how should we write on that in that case?
So, sir, I would like to say one thing. Like this happens, as I have mentioned again and again. Whenever you are doing any research, it should have researchability, feasibility. What does it mean? It simply means that you should always check before you study something that whether the literature is available or not. Okay. See,
Okay.
but still, sometimes we try to find out something new. For example, we talk about the COVID. When the COVID happened, right, this was a new situation, something which never happened. Like it happened very early, like situations, but in general we were not knowing or aware about the COVID, what exactly it is. Okay.
Okay.
So at that time, people started working on some of the studies about the COVID-19. So we were having, like, for example, mental health in the COVID-19. So we were having literature about the mental health, but we were not having literature about the COVID. So
Cool.
slowly, gradually, we can develop the literature, and we developed it obviously in last 7 years. Okay, there are so many papers on COVID now, but the people who must have initiated, who must have taken the step first for the new topic. So at that time, I what I suggest, whenever something new, So that something new must be existing somewhere, at least in the newspapers, in the magazines, in the internet, on the Wikipedia, or I must say any basic source somewhere in the books or somewhere from where you have got the idea. That idea cannot be different from this world, right? So
Okay.
wherever you are getting, you can give those references or those sources you can provide.
Okay. At least something should be the relevant from that. Na? Okay.
Sorry.
It should be the relevant to some
Yeah.
other idea. Yeah.
Yes, but I always
Okay.
suggest to the scholars and that whenever you are going for any kind of research work in your literature, in your like for your especially in your thesis, you should always check the researchability. If you are going to take something very new to your research and especially in your thesis, you are not going to get that much literature. So that will be very difficult for you to study.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any other question?
Good evening, ma'am. I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, I am a PhD scholar and I have a doubt that out of the total review of literature, how we are going to decide our base papers because it is ultimately very important when we're defending it in our end term presentations, etc.
Sorry,
So,
sorry. Can you
how?
come again?
Yes, ma'am. So, what I asked is how to select a proper base paper which you can able to defend your end term presentations.
Simply, whatever your title, you have to search as much as data you can. Okay, there are two
Yes, ma'am.
ways. There are two types of people. One, they do things one by one. Some people they keep the data all together and then they do it simple. So
Yes,
simply
ma'am.
there is generally I like the second one where you just gather all the data then start reading, so that
Right,
searching can be all together, then reading can be all together, then I can summarize it all together, and then I can have an idea what exactly I have to do. Okay,
right.
there is one more way. You can search your keywords or your topic on the internet. You can
Right.
download the PDF, you can read the papers, you can read the content, and whatever you are reading you can make an Excel file for the same, or if you want you can directly note it down. It's all up to you, your choice is there.
Yes, ma'am.
And accordingly you can simply read each and every paper, and you can summarize the literature accordingly whatever you are reading. So this is
Right.
also you can do. So whenever you are reading you will be able to identify whether that can be helpful or can be a base paper for a study or not. See,
Yes.
without reading you cannot decide. Sometimes that
Right.
the cover page can be good but the book cannot be that good. Okay.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah, so you have to read obviously. So that is why the literature should be very time taking thing. It should be because ultimately once you are done with good literature review it will be helping you till the last chapter, as I have said already.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? I hope I have given you enough information about the literature. Still, if you are having any doubts, you can ask me. Ask me, ma'am. I think it's I think done. So I thank you all, everyone, all the participants. I hope all these slides were you can read. If you are still having any doubt, you can drop your feedback and your questions to the Research Foundation of India. We can give you the answers back. That's not a problem. So still, if you are having any doubt, you can ask them.
Ma'am, shall I conclude?
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
A heartfelt thank you to ma'am for such an amazing session. Ma'am, it was really knowledgeable and truly enriching. I would also like to thank all the participants for the active participation. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, ma'am.